much as I thought I could plan a podcast, that is not going to happen. I do not have the mindset to sit here. Chop up block for block how I'm going to tell you about weight loss and weight gain. Hi, my name is Isha. The day is Thursday, December 16, 2021. The time is 10:54 p.m. And welcome to Early in the AM with Isha. Today I want to talk about some of the things I discussed in my Speak Up podcast. And one of them was especially in the self-love versus self-hate podcast was about the soul plate. And this is the collection in the bottom of your gut of all your experiences in the spiritual sense. I'm not going to gross you out with, physicalities and the materialization of choices. But nevertheless, I'm going to get into that. But first, I want to delve into other things I'm into. I forgot about a poetry website that I had joined years ago. It's called allpoetry.com, ALLPOETRY.com. And I had put poetry up there like 5 years ago. I joined it 5 years ago, and literally I haven't posted on it in about 2 years. I had forgot all about it. And then today it popped in my head, but I couldn't remember the website. But with some, punching around and thinking a little bit, I remember what it was. So if you want to read some of my poetry, it's on allpoetry.com. And look up under the artist Isha, A.E.V. It's ESHA, then it's a space, and then it's the letters A.E.V. So you can go there if you want to read some of my poetry. If you want to listen to some of my hip-hop songs, they're not the greatest of qualities, but it's still my work. You can go to SoundCloud under Aisha Miller with the number 2. That's AISHA with the number 2. Of course, you can come here on Spreaker, listen to some of my podcasts. I dumped 2 of my podcasts. I got rid of Isha's Papers, Essays of Progress, and I got rid of verses from Isha's books. I think they just take away. It's too much at one time. I need to concentrate on something and see where it goes. But the books themselves that come from verses from Isha's books are on sale on Amazon. You could look under the name Aisha Miller, AISHA MILER, or you could look up the books The Poetry Pocket or The War of Sol Nul. Sol Nul is spelled SOL _NUUL. That's SOL-NUUL. That's for those books. And those are just stories I've written in poetry form. They're not meant to be, the structure is questionable. I had submitted my book to booklife.com for a review. And I was on this spiritual high, they're about to tell me I'm the next hot thing, the diamond in the rough that just got discovered. This is the vision I have for myself. But I got an honest critique. It was a reality check. They was like, nah. They was like, they like the premise that the book empowers women. The book is so much about empowering women, empowering the spirit, because they have to be. And when they're in the positive, I'm in the positive. And it's just the way my body works. And I've been through this so many times. I try to find ways to be cute and then try to be cuter than but it never works. When the majority of women are messed up, I'm messed up. When women are doing good, I'm doing good. I mean, you put me in a scenario with thriving women, you will find an Isha that is on top of her game in every essence of the word. You find women struggling, I'll get lost in the struggle. I start struggling too. I hate that I'm that way. I'm just a chameleon. I just kind of imitate what's around me. And I've been this way my whole life. And it doesn't help. Because it's a fight or flight, a spirit that I have in me. If you're fighting, I'm fighting. If I have to step up and fight for you, it won't happen. If that's initially in me to fight and I have to, I will. I mean, I have gotten into fights before. It's not like it's a concrete door I can't break down. I'm just not good at initiating violence. And I think pulling back to everything I've been through, if I can come in as a punk, I'm a fighter. Like, I just have it in me to be a fighter. I'm just not confrontational. And I think that takes all the glory out of it. It takes all the flash and demeanor and anger and the fierceness, the seriousness out of it when you're not, up in your frontal with the fight. Cerebral fighting is different. I mean, you got a backbone, you could punch, you could take a punch, but you do it only when necessary. You're not that way all the time. You know what I mean? I'm not that way all the time. So, anyway, talking about the soul plate. And it's a theme I'm working on because I keep mentioning it when I was talking about abstinence and things like that, and being in a way that the part of you that reflects your truest self in your thinking and in your feelings and your spirit. And I keep calling it the soul plate. But now that I'm sitting here in this live in the moment, it's not as good as I want it to be, and I'm going to have to work on it. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and do something else. Well, not necessarily something else, but just, take it down. I can do everything else and really work on it and put some theme around it and study some philosophy and then come back and see exactly where I'm going with it. And all day I've been pulling back and forth at the soul plate. And I think I know now it's coming back. I struggled with why I wanted to do this personal journal, why I keep switching back from personal journal to comedy, why do I want you guys to hear what I'm thinking? And it's only because I've done this thousands of times before without an audience. I kept wondering, how did I survive all of that pressure on top of me? Why didn't I break? Why didn't I run for my life to the streets and say, okay, I messed up, let me in? I didn't do it because I was self-monologuing for years. Literally since 2000. I can't recall, even in my teenage years, I can't recall a time where I didn't lay in my bed and talk to myself for hours on end. And the things that I discussed were some of the best ideas in my life, but I was just in conversation with myself to ease whatever issues I was having. And that's what I keep doing. That's what I keep doing. And I did it through high school. I did it through college. Especially in 2000 when I really started getting into the prophecy part. I would get so excited. I would interrupt myself with a new idea, then apologize to myself. Like, it got that intense. And in my excitement, I was killing all the tension that had built up during the day. And I had some great conversation. I had some great ideas. And I didn't write it down because it was just from my heart at the time. It was just from my heart. I was just calming my heart down. I was calming my mind down. I was getting the anxiety out. And I was doing this almost every single day for years. Literally for like 20 years I've been doing this. For 20 years, almost every day. Like thousands and thousands of literal potential podcast entries that I never recorded because it was just for my health in the moment. And I was like, why am I struggling with ideas? I was like, I do this all the time. And it's almost like I'm trying to pin my innermost thoughts to people who are getting paid lots of money to do the same thing I'm doing. And it's not the same thing. This is a defense mechanism I do. And I don't speak to make sense. I speak to ease whatever's going on the inside. I speak to relieve the pressures on my chest. The pressures in my head, what's making my nerves jump and my skin itch. That's when I just ramble and I talk. I repeat myself without repetition grind. Without repeating myself over and over and over again, I don't get the forward feeling of defeating the anxiety. It's my tongue that's in the fight. Like in me creating the ideas and talking to myself, it's the tension that was living in there from the day that I'm fighting with. And I keep repeating the same thing, even though Isha, you already said you bought those shoes 6 or 7 times. But something about saying the shoes pushed my tongue further than the anxiety. And it was in that tongue work, I expelled the feeling out. And then I could physically see myself moving forward in the positivity of me talking and agreeing with myself. And then the anxiety would kaput or relief, and my heart would be more in rhythm with what I was thinking and not in opposition of what the pressure of the world was putting on me. I think that's what a soul plate is. A soul plate is a way to talk to yourself, finding the rhythm when society beats you to the punch within yourself. It starts beating you. If you could find your soul plate, that's where the competition, that's where the self-acknowledgement starts. You just start talking to yourself with yourself. You and every person you know, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth person, you're in all these positions and you're just conversating with yourself like a whirlwind. You're just in there going as fast as you can. You're pulling at memories. You're pulling at everything that makes you happy. Your tongue is you just hitting the words. You're angling. You're doing everything you got to do is getting intense. You're like a monster. You're a beast. You're battling yourself. You're being it. And then the next thing you know, you come up. And all of a sudden the anxiety is like trembling. And then it leaves you alone. And you're like, what? You're like on your beast mode. You're on your Muhammad Ali. You're kind of on your tippy toe switching back and forth. You're watching a butterfly. Like in the gangster lane flying across the sea. You're like, this is what it is. I feel it. I'm stinging it. And then all of a sudden in your excitement, you don't know that you raised the bar in yourself. And then it's the anxiety from the day that runs for cover. And you're like, oh my God, that's my soul plate. This is my soul plate. This is how I defeat the anxieties and the pressures of the day. Every single day. It's never an issue. It's never an issue for me to talk to myself like this. I don't need anything to talk about. Whenever I'm feeling anxiety, whenever I'm feeling anxious, I just talk about anything. Anything I could think of. We just go at it for hours on end. This is what I practice. This is what I practice all the time. The only thing I don't do is do it in public. When I'm in public, I don't start talking to myself and beating out the demons. I'm too much on my feet. And I'm trying to get my heart by itself and exercise to beat it out. But all I end up doing is sweating and opening up even more. And then at the end of the day, I end up doing this. But I wasn't recording myself. But now I'm recording myself for you to hear. So I'm sorry you didn't hear all my soul plating through my 20s and my 30s, but at least you can get some of my 40s, my early 40s until, this podcast thing is done with me. Yeah, that's definitely what I wanted to say. I watched a movie today with my mom called Bruising with Halle Berry. She's a UFC fighter. Good movie. Seeing Halle Berry and that street edge, very, very entertaining, very good stuff, good content. And when I see myself, could I see myself in that position? Not here, not living with my mom. That decision would have been made when I was younger. If I was a fighter like that, especially when I was out of this house, when I was, had a chance to make certain decisions that start concreting who you are, it would have been then. I would have found my way in when I was in school in New Rochelle to a boxing ring, and that would have been my focus. It would have been school and fighting. And then I would have been, something else from there, but you're not in your 40s. You don't want to go over. I could take a punch. No, you're not taking punches for that reason. You don't take punches just for the love of getting punched. Nobody does that. That's dumb. It's like if you really want to be that tough, you would have started when you had the chance to, when you're fresh and your muscles are still good. When you ain't, there it is, here it comes. There it is, the anxiety is right on my lips. When you're not worried about what others think about you. When you're too beat in your decisions of the past to worry about if somebody finds that bruise on you. A lot of us get so worked up, we get so anxious because people see our